everybody, welcome to the 49th episode of the Lovebird Lane vidcast. Geez, we're nearly at the 50. Gosh, that's my second, because I started this as the My Muddlings podcast, I did over 50 episodes of that, and now I'm up to 50 episodes of this, so I've been doing 100 episodes or more of this thing, so that's pretty exciting. Next week should be number 50 in the Lovebird Lane series, so wow, that's pretty exciting. I don't think I'm going to have anything planned, but it'll just be like normal. But yeah, I'm nearly at 50. That's pretty cool. So here we are again. We are recording on Friday this week. So for my patrons, you'll probably get this the same day that I am recording. Yesterday was supposed to be my recording day, but due to personal things and my housemate being home and things like that, I wasn't able to record because I don't generally record when there's anybody else home. I am back in the lounge room. I've tried a few weeks in the dining room, which is just through here, and yeah, I wasn't really loving it. It was a bit dark. It looked really artificially brightened because of my ring light, which is still on here, but because I've got a large window in front of me, I'm getting lots of natural light as well, so I figured I like here better. There's less going on in the background and better light, so we're back here in the lounge room. I was actually going to do this week's episode on the floor to see if Granger would come and sit with me, but I forgot about that and I'm all set up now, so I'm not going to move. We'll try that another week. You had Marianne on the show a couple of weeks ago. We'll try and get Granger on at some point, but not today. Okay, so today I have a couple of finished objects. I seem to have misplaced one. What did I do with it? It's here somewhere. I know I picked it up and brought it over, but I've got a couple of finished objects for you. One of my pairs of socks I did not get to complete like I'd hoped because weaving has hijacked my life again, which it tends to do occasionally. So yeah, part of my finished objects, I'm probably sitting on it. That's probably where it is. I'll probably find it under my butt. Yeah, so one of my finished objects is some weaving. I have some socks finished. I have three works in progress because I have more weaving and then I have 2 pairs of socks. So we'll stop blathering. I'll try and find my other finished object and we'll get on with it. And yes, I was sitting on it. it was under my butt. So now that I have this in my hands, I might as well start with it. It is a scarf that I have done, and I still have not pressed this or cut the ends off. I did share it on Instagram. I did say that it needs to be pressed and have all its ends taken off. You can see there's lots of ends there, but it is a striped scarf. It is, I was going to say knit, woven from some ashen oak that I had in my stash from Fibre Feast, the very first Fibre Feast back in 2018, and I love the colours together, but you know, it's kind of an orangey pink, I have to say, so it's not necessarily my pink, but it's but it's very, very lovely, and I just didn't know what to do with it, and I had a false start trying to design something with it, and it just ended up being that I really wanted to use this yarn, so I just striped them together in a scarf. So I'm going to do some twisted fringe on the end. I did hem stitch both ends, as you can probably see there, and I striped the warp, so there's this one is called Robin's Nest, and then this one is Anna, and so I have striped through the warp, so it's not a hugely contrasted stripe, but you can kind of see where, you know, the Robin's Nest is on top of Robin's Nest and the Anna is on top of Anna. So yeah, this just needs a press and some ends trimmed off, obviously, and some twisted fringe, and then I'm probably going to put this in the shop, I think. We'll pop it in there. I do want to get some woven pieces into the shop, so that's probably where this will be going. I'm pulling on my weaving. I actually got a contusion the other day from my thread snips, as you do. I didn't get cut by the snips. I got, like, my finger busted from the actual handle, so yeah, I'm going to get that caught on all of my crafting today. So I have to fix up the sides a little bit because some of my ends, what I do with my ends let me see if I can show you. You might not be able to see, but you can see here there's like this double, like a double pick almost looking part, and then I offset them. So this side is the robin's nest double pick. So I just do that over a few warp threads just to get that locked in, and then I obviously leave the end hanging out the back. Once it's all pressed and everything, you don't even really notice that in the finished fabric, but it's a nice way just to secure it without, I mean, I could always carry the yarn up the side, but I just haven't really tried that. I probably should in the future so I don't have quite so many ends and not so much yarn wastage, but that's for another time. So this is finished. I just, like I said, need to do those final finishing touches to it and then take some photos. Hopefully that will be done by next week. Perhaps I'll bring it back next week when it is completely finished. The weaving itself is finished. But yeah, just the finishing touches need to be done. So that is my first finished object. And I just thought, it's a pair of socks, I should get some sock blockers, so bear with me, I will go and do that. And while I put the socks on the blockers, I just want to quickly say there are some guys out on the street today. There's all these trucks around. They're doing something with something underground, so if you do hear some noise, I've just heard it start up, like an engine generator kind of noise. Yeah, I can't help that. I already missed out yesterday's recording day because my housemate being home, so I kind of have to do this today to get an episode out this week. So yeah, please forgive any weird extraneous noise that you do hear. So now I have socks. So these are my house party socks, which is a pattern by Jess Gore, and who is the Sweater Collective, and my friend, name dropper. And these were knit from some Wool and Vine yarns, and I have a pair. So let's see if we can get my face out and let it focus on the socks. So as you can see here, there's like this cable section on the, oh, I shouldn't use this finger, this cable section here with makes some crosses. We've got that moss stitch type section, and then we've got the what's it called, starburst stitches on the front, and the starburst just continues down onto the foot. And I did the patterned heel, which is the Eye of Partridge heel. So rather than doing my Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I usually do, I did go with the pattern heel, and I've done that Eye of Partridge. So yeah, as always, the pattern is great. Jess really is very thoughtful with her patterns, and I did have a few hiccups at the beginning because I didn't read the pattern, which is always my thing. I just want to get onto the knitting. I don't really want to be reading a pattern, so that's on me. But it was basically because at the beginning on the leg you actually have one more stitch on one half than the other, so they're like not strictly halves, because you have that one extra stitch on one side, and I couldn't figure out why. I'd followed the pattern, I had the right number of stitches, but I had this one stitch that was sort of an errant stitch, and then it's like, Julianne, read the pattern and see what it says. Also because the pattern is written for magic loop, I did this on my regular 9-inch circulars. So again, that was kind of where my stumbling block was, because I wasn't using two separate needles, I was using one round needle. But once I got past that, it was just smooth sailing, and especially when you get to the foot, like, you just have to remember where your star burst pattern comes in. Super simple. And I did the first one probably down to the heel using the pattern, but then past there it was all in my head, and yeah, it was pretty easy to memorize. So as I said, this is Wool and Vine yarns. It's a footsie base. The colourway is Tea Leaves, which is a lovely speckly pink. And as I've said before, I didn't love using that yarn on small sharp needles. I found it was quite splitty, it's very fluffy, kept finding myself putting my needles through the yarn itself. However, it is a BFL sock yarn. I love BFL sock, so I'm gonna love wearing these. It's not gonna affect the way I wear them at all. It just made doing some of those, especially the, I keep forgetting what it's called, the starburst stitch. The way that is created, it did cause a few issues with that. However, we got through it. I've got two socks, and yeah, these are going to go into my rotation for winter, even though today feels like winter. I think it's supposed to only be 19 degrees today and windy, and I think possible showers. It rained a lot yesterday here, so I said to the guys last night at dinner, I'm just like, what season are we actually in? Like, isn't this supposed to be February in Australia? Aren't we supposed to be sweltering in the middle of a heat wave? But anyway, I must say I would prefer the cooler weather, so I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just going to take the cooler weather and be happy about it. But I might have a quick drink and get on to what I am still working on. Okay, so I have my Minty Socks, which I have a ton of yarn that is out of the ball and still attached, because I knit the toe all the way to the end, and then for some reason my front needle, the way I do it is my start of my round is here. I do half the sock on one needle, and then I split the back on 2 needles when I do my toe, because I knit the rest of the sock on my 9-inch circulars, and then I do my toe on DPNs. And I don't know what I did, but I ended up with 14 stitches across the front, because I go down to 12 stitches, so 24 stitches total, so 12 on the front, 6 on each of the back ones. I got down to what was 6 stitches on the 2 back needles, but I still had 14 on the front, and I couldn't figure out how I did it. And looking at it, I think I put a couple of weird decreases in places that weren't supposed to be decreases, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I know I was watching a show on Tubi. I found this new streaming platform called Tubi.tv or TubiTV.com or something. It's TUBI if you want to look it up, Tubi. And it's basically free to stream TV shows. You just have to watch ads through it, which are mostly Optus ads, and I'm so sick of seeing the same bloody ad. But yeah, I was watching something on there, so I think I just had my brain completely hijacked by what I was watching on Tubi, and I was just trying to go autopilot on my toe, and I've basically had to rip it all out. So I've got this huge big yarn buff on the floor over here. So yeah, I've had to restart the toe. So essentially I did finish one of my Minty Socks before the next recording. I was hoping to have this finished and the next one cast on before I spoke to you guys, but yeah, I had to rip out the toe, and then last night the Sock Society pattern dropped, so I of course wound up my yarn for that and cast that on. So just my basic sock as usual, double rib there, fish lips kiss heel, and I'm doing my wedge toe right now. So I'm probably going to finish this so I don't have all of this yarn hanging around. I'll probably finish this later today. Yeah, I did not get my second pair of socks done because I did all that weaving. I finished that scarf, plus I have warped another scarf, which I will show you shortly after I show you my Handmade Sock Society. Oh my god, I need a blooper reel. The Handmade Sock Society pattern that I cast on last night. So I'll show you that now. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I have stretched through my comfort zone and I am knitting a pair of socks in green. And my Patreons saw me dye this up last week. I put up an extra episode with me dyeing this yarn, and basically I did green because I looked up the spoiler thread for the Handmade Sock Society for the first pattern, and it was like a soft eucalyptus green. So I basically was like a forest green, I suppose, but I say eucalyptus because that is the inspiration for Helen's sock. I think she talks about eucalyptus trees in the blurb for the pattern. Basically the spoiler was a colorway called Forest. It's kind of a sagey kind of green, and I made this green. So it is yet unnamed. I am just calling it Curling Mist because that is the name of the pattern, and that's why I dyed this up, was for that pattern. So I just kept it as Curling Mist for now. I might change it in the future. This is on my cashmere sock base, so it's a MCN 80-10-10, and it's lovely and soft, and it has a lovely halo. So this is the spare skein that I had left, because I usually dye most of my colorways in 2s. And I have cast on my sock. So that is the cake. That is what it looks like, all caked up. And there's lots of shifting shades in here as usual. It's done in my usual sort of technique. So there's probably, I think I ended up with about 4 different dyes to make this colorway. And there we are. I'll show you it knit up. So as I said, this pattern is called Curling Mist, and it's just got those little, if you can see, little crosses to make almost like little cable looking twists. And yeah, that was last night's knitting. I started, oh, that's inside out. No wonder I couldn't see it on the monitor. Oh, I'm having a good day, aren't I? All right, let's see if we can get this focus again. All right, there we go. Now you can see the little crosses that I'm assuming are invoking the curling mist that Helen has what's the word? Named the pattern for. Gosh, I'm doing so badly, aren't I? I think I just need to go to bed. I've been so tired this week. I just don't feel like I'm sleeping very well. So I've been waking up feeling a bit crap. But yeah, I'm on to my first sock. The yarn is lovely. I love cashmere yarn. I tried having silk yarn in the shop. I didn't love it personally. Silk is not really my thing, but I do love some cashmere. So I've got some cashmere coming into the shop soon. And yeah, that is what I'm knitting here. Some cashmere sock, because that is what Helen used. That's the base that she used in her pattern. And yeah, I am knitting a really green sock, like, because I know the Minty sock is green, but it's a very blue green, like it's very much an aqua-y kind of color. So blue, I do like blue, perhaps not aqua, but you know, I wanted to go through some tone and do some tonal socks, so I've got mostly a tonal sock here. And it's, yeah, it's that more yellowy green, which is not usually my bag. However, it does sort of gel well with all of the houseplants that are around my house these days. But yeah, I'm going to be working on these some more later on after I've done some editing and some more weaving and things like that. But like I said, it only dropped last night, so this was one evening's knitting, casting this on and getting this going. I don't love doing tons of ribbing, but yeah, I've decided that I'm doing this thing, so we will finish the socks. And finally, let's hope that I don't make a mess of this. We might move my boat shuttle because I tend to keep dropping it all the time. Like I said, I started another weave. So this one I tried to do some stripes in and have sort of like a blended gradient? Yeah, I suppose gradient, like a gradient blending of stripes. I'm just neatening up my threads here so that it can look a little bit nicer for you to look at. So I tried doing some stripes, however, I don't think there's enough contrast between the stripes and the white yarn. I am just using white for my weft, and yeah, I don't think there's quite as much contrast as there should be to get stripes, but we'll see what it looks like on the camera. So I'm doing this on my Sample It, my Ashford Sample It loom. This is the 10-inch one. I'm very, very tempted to buy the next one up, because I do have 2 looms. I have a 60-centimeter loom, and I have this one which is 25 centimeters, and I'm kind of tempted to get this. I think it's 16 inches is the next one up. I don't know what that is in centimeters. 40 centimeters, something like that. So basically I tried to do some stripes, and these are all leftover yarns that I have used for other projects. So here we have some Night Court. It's going to be very hard for you to see, which is my yarn. I have some Spun Right Round, I think is the pink that comes through here. Then I have some Unwind Yarn Company. It was a sock blank, so it's quite speckly, coming through to my Nebula colorway, which is one of the Nebula, and the Wilted, which is the one that's next to it here, this sort of beigey color. That was what I knit my Dreaming of Paris socks out of, so this is remainders from that. Going on to some Anna, which is what I used, the Ashen Oak Anna that I used in my previous scarf that I just spoke about, the Robin's Nest here too, and then I've just finished it off going back to Night Court. So if you hear the jingle jangles, it's because I've got a couple of loose threads, so I use these little hooks to add tension to the threads. So yeah, so basically we will show you what I have actually woven. So this is the white. I'm using my BFL nylon sock as the weft, just going backwards and forwards. And I can't really see because I'm looking through my loom, but I think you can see the stripes. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what this looks like once it's all finished and washed, and see whether those stripes come through any better than they do right now. I mean, obviously you can see them, they're there, but yeah, the contrast is just not quite as large, I suppose, as I was kind of expecting. And I didn't use any kind of, I know a lot of people use the Fibonacci series, I think is what it's called, to make their stripes for weaving, but I didn't do that. I just created like a set of stripes of 4s and 2s and just kind of gradient like them into each other, kind of in a way. But I think I do want to really look into the Fibonacci series and see if I can figure out how to use that to warp my looms. So I do have a lot of scraps left, and I was considering just making them up as little minis and putting them in the shop just to get them out of my stash. But I'm thinking now I will probably use them all as warp for stripy scarves and just use like plain sort of semi-solid or white or black yarns as the weft. So yeah, I'm excited to see what I can come up with. I have been working on this pretty much, when did I put this on the wall, on the loom? I did that, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Thursday, I did it on Wednesday. So I've done all of this. You can probably just see I've got paper between everything, but that's all my wound on fabric. So I don't think I have too much of this left to go, but this will probably be going in the shop as well. It's going to be a scarf. I'm not doing it as fabric to make bags or anything. I find that this loom, it's a little bit narrow for making bag fabric. I can only make little pouches and things out of the width of fabric, but it does make a really nice light scarf that is like very versatile through different seasons because it is light, it is thin. I make them relatively long so they can be really looped and things like that. So yeah, this one will probably end up in the shop. So we'll see how it looks when it's all finished. I'm pretty into my weaving at the moment. So once I finish this one, let me just put that down. Once I finish that one, I do have another scarf on the loom, my big loom, which I want to get off as well, and then start doing more fingering weight scarves. I've got a worsted weight non-superwash scarf on the other loom in a pinky colour, so yeah, that also will be going to the shop, and it's very wide. It's as wide as my 60cm loom, so you get a little bit of like pull in as you go, but it's, you know, sort of in the vicinity of that. So yes, I'm doing lots of weaving, and I do really enjoy my weaving, I must say. My dream is to get a big, like a maybe even just a 4-shaft table loom, just something that's a little bit more sort of customizable from the rigid heddle. So that is something that I'm hoping to do one day. My money needs to go elsewhere at the moment, because Simon and I are beginning to look for houses and things like that, all that kind of good stuff. So We may be moving soon, I don't know. We've had all sorts of issues and trials and tribulations with finding out what we can borrow and having to change where we were thinking we were going. So we might be moving soon, and either it'll be to our own home or we might be moving in with Simon's mum and her partner, because we don't want to overstay our welcome here pretty much, and we're coming up on almost 2 years, so we don't really want to push it too much here. So either we're going to be moving into our own home soon, or we will be going to live with Simon's mum, so we will see. So that's part of all the issue that I had the other day, that I just didn't feel like doing anything yesterday because I was we had a bit of an upset. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into that, but that's probably it. That is probably all that's been going on. I've just been calling brokers and mortgage people and looking for houses and things like that. So that's kind of been taking up a lot of my time. I do have something super, it's probably kind of secret at the moment, but pretty exciting coming up in before March. So keep an eye on this space. Follow me on Instagram. You'll definitely see it there. And I am Lovebird Lane at Instagram. So yeah, there's something exciting coming. I can't say too much about it just yet, but yeah, definitely keep an eye out. And yeah, I think that is it for today. I think I will go and get started editing this, because I want to try and get it up by this afternoon for all my Patreons. And I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, I have a Patreon now. It is $2 US plus GST per month, and I've kept the price pretty low so that it's more accessible to more people who might be able to support me over there. So if you'd like to, I do have the link down in the description, and if you sign up to my Patreon, you get early access to all these weekly episodes. They will come out for weekend viewing. Generally I will list it for everybody else generally on a Monday, so even if you can't become a Patreon, you will still get access to these episodes. They will just come out on Mondays instead of seeing them on Fridays. And I have got 2 bonus videos on there. One is a knit and chat, one is a dye and chat, and I'm planning on putting pics on there, maybe some blog posts, doing some live streams, maybe opening up a Discord if that is something that people are interested in. So basically that money is going to go towards upgrading camera equipment, upgrading, getting new lighting, because this ring light is really not, because it does this, really not great. I want to try getting some softbox type lighting, getting a microphone, getting an overhead tripod so that I can get more tutorials done. So that's where all that money is going to go. So thank you so much to everybody who has signed up to my Patreon. I really do appreciate it. I do have a new patron this week as well, who's Natalie. Welcome, Natalie. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah, if you are interested, you can find that at the link in the description. And also, if you can't afford it, and then that's perfectly fine, you still, like I said, get this free episode. And but some ways that you can help me that are free is to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, even on the video, because that is all engagement. YouTube thrives on engagement. So if you'd like to help the channel but you can't do it monetarily, please give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, give me a comment. That is huge. And also make sure that you are subscribed. So they're all perfect ways that you can help me that are for free. And of course, tell your friends. So thank you so much for your support, for all of you who have stuck with me through these nearly 100 episodes, or more than 100 episodes. I'm not sure how many I got to on the My Muddlings. And yeah, it's only can get better from here. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And remember what I just said. Give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. And I will catch you in the next one. So happy knitting, happy crafting, and I'll see you next week. Bye.